England's knockout against Argentina left English fans utterly devastated and drowning in deep frustration, but it also sparked a fierce debate over how the team completely blew the lead they had fought so hard to get. David Beckham, one of England's biggest legends, opened up about the match, admitting the semifinal was an absolute roller coaster of mixed emotions for him. Pure, agonizing tension. The former midfielder explained that when England went 1-0 up, he felt this massive wave of joy, thinking his country was just one step away from another World Cup final 12. But deep down, he knew the score didn't really reflect what was actually happening out on the pitch. When we scored, of course I lost my mind and celebrated. I'm English. I wore the captain's armband for this country. And all I wanted was for us to win and make the final. But I have to be honest when I analyze the game. In that moment, that 1-0 lead wasn't really fair because Argentina was dominating possession, dictating the play, and looked completely in control, Beckham admitted. Even so, the former star pointed out that in a World Cup, it's not always the team that dominates the ball or plays the prettiest football that wins. England got their goal, capitalized on their moment, and had every right to defend that lead. This is soccer, and above all, it's the World Cup. The scoreboard doesn't need to be fair. Sometimes one team controls the game, but the other lands the killer blow. England did exactly that. And from that point on, I just wanted them to hang on, hunt for a second goal, and secure their spot in the final. I didn't care if it looked ugly or if anyone thought it was undeserved. In a semifinal, the only thing that matters is surviving and advancing, he said. Beckham then joked about the massive inner conflict he felt every single time Lionel Messi touched the ball. His deep admiration for the Argentine captain is no secret, and it only grew after bringing the legend to Inter Miami. So, watching him go up against England put Beckham in a state of inner turmoil that was hard to put into words. Every time Leo touched the ball, I was literally arguing with myself, he admitted with a laugh. The Englishman in me wanted him to lose it immediately, mess up his pass, or make a terrible decision. But the football romantic in me, the side that has admired him for so many years, was secretly hoping he'd pull off the impossible thread, that perfect pass, and create something magical. But then I'd snap back to reality, realizing he was playing England, and think, Leo, please, not today. Setting that personal dilemma aside, Beckham insisted he couldn't hold anything against the English players. He felt the squad poured their hearts out, competed relentlessly, and that absolutely no one could accuse them of lacking commitment. There's really nothing to blame them for. They ran, they fought, and they came agonizingly close to reaching a World Cup final. It's incredibly easy to sit back and play the blame game from the outside, but out on that pitch, decisions are made under suffocating pressure. The players gave every single thing they had. We can debate if they lacked sharpness or if certain moments could have been handled better, but their heart and soul on the pitch is unquestionable, he said. For Beckham, the real reason for the painful loss lay in how England completely changed their approach after taking the lead. The team stopped pressing hard, dropped way too deep, and practically invited Argentina to set up camp right outside England's box. What worried me most was that after going 1-0 up, England seemed to convince themselves that they just had to defend that lead for the rest of the match. They retreated way too deep. They stopped pressing like they had been, and completely threw away so many chances to counterattack. Against a team like Argentina, that's suicide because they only get stronger and more dangerous when they're allowed to dictate play close to your box, he explained. The former midfielder avoided taking a direct shot at Thomas Tuchel, though he did admit he was left baffled by some of the manager's tactical decisions. In his eyes, England should have kept pushing to extend their lead instead of desperately trying to protect a fragile one-goal advantage. Honestly, my biggest question marks are around some of the decisions made from the bench. I get that you want to protect a lead in a massive semifinal, and I get that we were facing a world-class team with extraordinary players, but defending doesn't mean retreating so far back that you're literally trapped inside your own penalty box. England had already proven they could hurt them. They had found the gaps and had forced Argentina onto the back foot. I just don't understand why they abandoned that game plan so quickly, a reflecting Beckham concluded. That England had the players with the speed and skill to exploit the open space Argentina left behind whenever they pushed forward. In his mind, keeping up an attacking threat would have forced Lionel Scaloni's squad to play with a lot more caution. If your opponent knows you're not going to attack, they're just going to throw everyone they've got right at you. The defenders push right up to the midfield line, the fullbacks fly forward, and the pressure becomes suffocating. And that is exactly what happened. England would win the ball back, but they had absolutely no outlet because their forwards were miles away from the play. Every single clearance just handed possession right back to Argentina, he explained. For the former England captain, trying to sit on a 1-0 lead for that long against a team like Argentina was just far too risky. The South Americans had already proven in this tournament that they knew how to handle adversity, and they never, ever panicked when they fell behind. Argentina is the absolute worst team to try and park the bus against just to protect a 1-goal lead. They don't panic, they never stop believing, and they have players who are built to compete under the absolute highest pressure. And on top of all that, they have Messi. You can defend well for 20 or 30 minutes, but if you hand them the ball the entire game, they only need one single moment to change everything, he warned. When Argentina finally got the equalizer, Beckham admitted he wasn't surprised at all. From his perspective, that goal was the logical consequence of Argentina completely dominating the pitch and England spending way too much time pinned back near their own box. That equalizer hurt. It hurt a lot, but it was no surprise. Argentina had been pushing hard, and the game was basically being played entirely in our own half. England couldn't keep a hold of the ball, and every single attempt to play out from the back just fell apart way too quickly. If you let a world-class team attack you over and over again, the goal is going to come sooner or later, he pointed out. Beckham also addressed the refereeing. A lot of England fans were calling out some of the fouls, claiming the ref was biased toward Argentina. But the former star shut down those excuses, insisting he didn't see any game-changing mistakes. I didn't see any calls from the referee that decided the outcome of this match. It was a brutal semifinal, high tension, with both teams playing extremely physical. Argentina committed fouls, and so did England. That's just how it was. There were heavy tackles from both sides, which is exactly what you expect in a massive game like this. Sure, you can debate individual moments, but I don't think the referee had any real impact on the final score, he stated. Beckham argued that blaming the officiating is just an easy way to avoid looking at the hard football realities. In his eyes, England lost because they sat back way too deep, completely giving up on trying to score a second goal. I don't believe for a second that we lost because of a referee's decision. Using that as an excuse is just too easy. The real conversation needs to be about what we did after going 1-0 up. The team had the chance to keep pushing, to keep Argentina on their toes and try to extend the lead. Instead, they chose to drop deep and defend way too close to their own box, he lamented. The legendary midfielder admitted that Argentina's win was deserved, especially because of how they took charge of the game and constantly hunted for goals. But he insisted the outcome could have been entirely different if England had shown a bit more ambition. Argentina deserved to go through because they were the ones making things happen. They controlled the ball, and they never gave up. But that doesn't change the fact that England had the opportunity to change the outcome right in their hands. If they had just kept that attacking mindset after scoring the first goal, maybe things would have turned out differently. And it's not like they had to throw everyone forward recklessly either. They just couldn't give up on playing altogether, Beckham concluded, before sending his support to the England squad and congratulating Argentina on advancing. The former midfielder admitted that this exit is going to hurt for a very, very long time. But he urged fans not to let the heartbreak overshadow how close they actually came to the final. It breaks my heart because I wanted nothing more than to see England fighting for that trophy. The players must be absolutely devastated too, and they'll need time to process a blow like this. But we can't forget the incredible effort they put in. Argentina earned that win. They knew how to react, and they struck the exact moment England stopped attacking. The Englishman in me wanted Messi to do absolutely nothing. But the football lover in me knew if we gave him that much of the ball, something was bound to happen sooner or later. And, unfortunately, that is exactly what ended up happening.